If it happened twice, it would be a coincidence, but the third time you see it's there, somebody planned it. They're white, and if you're out there hiking and you see something that looks like a human looking at you from over the sagebrush, which may be as tall as 6 feet, don't look back.
Do you need to use specific materials for the craft?
Before you can know about the materials, you have to know about the subatomic particles, because the ceramic fiber optics are supposed to contain do what fiber optics do today, what only they do it differently. I've personally seen the fiber optics when, as I describe in my book, when I was in the summer after my between my 5th and 6th grade, when Ray Palmer, I believe that was his name, the editor of Flying Saucers magazine, in a store in London, Wisconsin, and his childhood friend who ran the store came back from Roswell with a stretch about a yard long. And it was woven. It wasn't a thin strip of metal. It was like they took nylon fibers, but it wasn't nylon, it was ceramic, and wound it. And then when you shined the flashlight through it, the light would bend without being absorbed. Now, but before you do it for the craft, you first have to know about the particles, because you have to know how to build the fiber optics before you can do anything else.
So
See?
Roswell, you mentioned the Roswell Grays, and you're talking about the Roswell craft. The lore is that it made its way to Wright Airfield at the time. And you're saying it eventually made its way to Area 51 or to the Nevada test range?
I don't know where it made its way to, but I don't care, because I've seen the real one and I know what it looks like. According to
Where'd you see it? Did you see it in Nevada?
In Nevada, I've seen craft of that type many times. On one, as I describe in my book on the Valleys of the Grace, on one cold and snowy night in the fall back in the 60s, when I damn near died in the fog, and the scout craft with the young lady in it and some of her friends, accompanied by the deep space craft and the teenage craft, they had gone down to the bend in the road. And she alone, she was just learning to run the craft, so they didn't let her take it up in the air. And before the fog moved in, when I was walking down there, I was on the side of a hill. I was alone, and she had brought the craft in on the gravel road. She just had the control coils running, and she had opened up the door on the side. I was very reluctant to approach a craft because I knew from experience that they all have those fields surrounding them, and that if you get too close, it's like walking into the back of a jet engine when the jet engine is running. You gotta just stay and let them see you and let them come as close as they want, or you'll get your ass burned. So I wasn't, but she had powered down the outer coils. So from her point of view, there was nothing keeping me from just walking the final distance and stepping up into the craft and saying hi and meeting her and the others who were on the craft. I didn't realize at the time that the teenager who was the backup pilot, he was a young gray. They looked just like someone from Mongolia. But the other three, she and the other three, were actually humans. They were young Chinese people that the Greys had rescued, not abducted, but they had been orphaned and the Greys had rescued. And the whole point was that they were trying to return them to human society. But first you got to find a human who everybody trusts, including the children, and the human has to be somebody who trusts them in return. And the human they had figured that they had chosen had this last name Hall and a first name Charlie, okay? They're Charles, right? And you say, well, why didn't they tell me? And they say, well, that's why we picked him, because he'll figure it out if we just give him time, right? Why tell him early and scare him, right? That's why we picked him, because he's perfect at convergent, divergent reasoning, and he'll figure it out. And that's what they're doing, waiting for me to come.
Do you think it's a coincidence then that you get Area 51 and some of the most top secret advanced R&D when it comes to the American military co-located on that area.
I subscribe to the Marine Corps theory. If it happened once, it would be a coincidence. If it happened twice, if it was happened once, it would be random. If it happened twice, it would be a coincidence. But the third time you see it's there, somebody planned it. Okay? Yeah. Now, remember what else is out there? The Desert Game Range National Park. Okay? Now, the Desert Game Range was set up in the time of Franklin D. Roosevelt. Okay, it was I talk about in my book, and it was like 1935 or 1937. For some reason, FDR just got up all by himself, and after talking with a single Army colonel, Army Air Force colonel, decided that the desert bighorn sheep, who live in the mountains like Sheep Peak, for which it's named, and the mountains to the east, must be an endangered species. You say, wait a minute, this is 1937. I didn't realize we had endangered species till 1970 or something. No, this was 1937, and by executive order said, we got to make that a protected area to protect the desert bighorn sheep. They're white. And if you're out there hiking and you see something, in the words of the park rangers, that looks like a human looking at you from over the sagebrush, which may be as tall as 6 feet, don't look back, especially if it looks like a woman with children, because the bighorn sheep don't like that. They'll attack you. Just look away and walk away. And in 1937, in order to protect the sheep, and that we're talking before World War II, Franklin Roosevelt and the Army Air Force decided that they would station a battalion of anti-aircraft guns with live ammo to protect it. Okay? So in case it wouldn't be subject to Japanese air attack.
And it was all that specific area.
In that specific area, right.
Different parts of the brain have different activities.